Hockey took center stage tonight as Canada and the USA squared off in the Four Nations Face-Off Championship. Highlights from the game that went into overtime.
We've got another round of patchy fog and slick roads as we start the day, but we've got a major incoming storm this weekend.
Farmers are in dire stress.
It's the reality for farmers across the country and in Spokane. Stress, anxiety, and depression. Tonight, a local psychologist hosts an event aimed at helping. Good evening and thank you for joining us for the KREM 2 News Night Report. I'm Mark Hanrahan. We start tonight with another weather impact alert, this time for heavy rain and the potential for flooding. Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoud live in the Weather Center tonight, tracking what we need to know. Jeremy?
Mark, it's almost the perfect way for all of this to unfold. Temperatures are now starting to drop, and as we get nice and cold tonight, this is kind of the last night down below freezing. So once we warm back up, all of our snow starts melting. In addition to that, we will see heavy rain, and that means all of that moisture or water has to go somewhere. Overnight, we're going to fall back into the 20s, so just allow extra time. It'll be a little bit slick early tomorrow. Flash flood advisories in western Washington and southern Panhandle, but I think those will grow more widespread throughout the day tomorrow as we have our incoming wave of energy. First one's a wave of energy that arrives Friday. Notice it's a little bit of stray shower activity, and then a few of those move a little farther south overnight. But then as we move from Friday into Saturday, we'll get our first big push of moisture. Arrives Saturday evening and takes us through a very wet Saturday night. More rain expected Sunday. All said and done, up to an inch. And look at your temperatures, up near 50 degrees. That means all of that snow is going to start to melt. We have to get rid of all that water, and it's all got to go somewhere. We're going to talk that flood threat coming up in the full forecast.
All right, sounds good. We'll check back in with you later in the broadcast, Jeremy. Tonight, a local psychologist took her clinic to Green Bluff for a meeting with farmers. The topic, their mental health and how to improve it. KREM 2's Connor McAvoy has more.
The meeting here at Green Bluff Grange highlighted stress many farmers face, not just in providing for themselves or their families, but in some cases, entire communities. It's an anxiety a Washington State University psychologist says is unique compared to others. Tonight, a handful of farmers trickled into the Green Bluff Grange. The topic, not their crops, but themselves. The National Rural Health Association reports farmers are 3.5 times more likely to commit suicide than any other population. That's a statistic psychologist Dr. Cornelia Kirchhoff isn't surprised by.
Farmers are in dire stress.
Kirchhoff is the associate director of the WSU Psychology Clinic. She hosted tonight's event at Green Bluff Grange, discussing factors farmers deal with throughout the year that impact their mental health. There, attendees discussed the anxiety and stress they and others face in the agriculture industry. They were also connected to resources to help with anxiety or depression, such as helplines known as Farm Aid and AgriStress. Kirchhoff says a big stress factor, things farmers can control, like weather and prices.
Maybe prices are lower than expected for the fruits maybe that they were growing. So it's a whole plethora, a wide variety of stressors.
Kirchhoff says she hopes her work in Green Bluff shines a light on the hardships farmers face and brings awareness for anyone in the industry worried about reaching out for help.
I think farmers as a group are very resilient and they're very self-reliant. So I think thinking about reaching out to others might be harder for them. So that's kind of why we have this effort to make it as easy as possible.
Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
So just kind of like farming is hard.
New tonight, a proposed bill making its way through the Idaho State House would regulate rental applications. Senate Bill 1042 passed the Senate floor on Wednesday. If it becomes law, it would require landlords to disclose all rental requirements like criminal history and credit scores before an application is submitted. Debate on that bill was divided between lawmakers who support protecting renters and those who argue this bill is too much government overreach.
In speaking with nonprofits from across the state of Idaho, abuse of rental application fees has cited as one of the biggest challenges that their clients, veterans, seniors, young people, single moms, are dealing with.
It's the government stepping into the private sector and telling private business owners who have invested their own time, their own labor, their own effort, their own money into running a business, how to run that business.
States, an owner can only charge fees to 2 potential renters at a time and can't seek out other applications unless one of those is denied. It will now head over to the House for consideration. And now to our night beat with a quick look at today's top stories. Coeur d'Alene police have revoked 5 massage parlors' business licenses following illegal sexual activity allegations. Police say they started to hear reports of the alleged activities last spring. Those parlors are currently being investigated after police got several reports of unwanted sexual touching. Police say in this case, they are also concerned that some of the employees may be victims of sex trafficking and were brought here from different countries.
You know, these investigations are challenging because the people that would inherently be victims are oftentimes suspects as well, because they're, you know, if you're going to that business for the purpose of, you know, some sort of sex acts, then you're committing a crime as well.
Coeur d'Alene Police asks anyone with information about these parlors to please contact them directly. If you or someone you know is dealing with domestic violence or sexual abuse, we have a hotline that you can reach out to. You can find it on our website. That's KREM.com. Staying in North Idaho, free parking for residents and visitors in public lots could be coming to an end in Sandpoint. City leaders say a paid parking system would help pay for much needed maintenance. Sandpoint City staff says parking lot maintenance about 50 years overdue. They estimate that maintenance and replacement costs of downtown's 500 off-street parking spaces is more than $290,000. The earliest it could roll out would be the spring or summer of 2026. However, city officials expect it will be challenging getting the community on board with the plan. A Spokane Valley man facing assault charges after police say he threatened a neighbor with a machete. It happened on Monday night. Deputies say the man was upset because he believed the neighbor owed him $10. So they say the man threatened the neighbor with a machete, stabbing his door and poking the neighbor with the blade. That neighbor was not seriously hurt. And that was your night beat. For more on any of these stories, just head to our website. That's KREM.com. All right, still ahead tonight, an appeals court hands down a decision following a Seattle judge's ruling blocking President Trump's attempt to end birthright citizenship. Plus, it may not feel like it's Bloomsday, but Spokane's largest race right around the corner. Catch the annual kickoff event later on.